Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them to tell us this truth. And Shalom, salutations to all the brothers up pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect, tabernacle of David. All right, so this lesson is just going to touch really quickly on these blackouts and what they where they actually originate from. We're being warned over and over, oh, blackouts, rolling blackouts in Babylon the Great, okay? America, if you will. Well, I mean, and there might be some, and it's been as hot as it's probably going to get for the summer and all of that, but we really haven't seen anything. And here's my theory, okay? Where are the blackouts going to come from? Our grid not being up to snuff, or would it be Vladimir Putin and the Russians and their cyber warfare? Okay, whatever is going on in Eastern Europe right now, we're doing it. Babylon the Great is doing it. Okay, and I'll prove that. So you have to consider, we're at war with Russia. When I say we, I mean the U.S. is at war with Russia right now, okay? And Russia knows it. What's going on between the Ukraine and Russia is a proxy, all right? So when you get things like this is the brother GMS dedication, and these things keep popping up, and you see it, I'm like, get ready. What does this mean? Get ready for blackouts from, what does this mean? From London to LA. That's on two different continents, number one, as the global energy crisis overwhelms grids and sends energy prices skyrocketing. Okay, so first of all, who is the main person controlling energy right now? That would be Vlad. And Nord Stream 2 got all of Europe, right? London is in Europe. Got him in check right now. That would be Vlad. Okay? So this actually reads, watch out for the Russians because they're gonna have you in the dark. That's what this actually reads as. Okay? Now, for example, we'll come back to this. I just wanted to show this first. For example, Vlad said, let's see, Putin, let's type it in as we go. And this is, this is all that. Putin says he'll strike London. Remember this? First. Why does it say London to LA? Okay. Sounds like the American Boy song. Russia occupies. Putin ally says, we'll bomb London first in World War II. Okay. Now, he's talking about nukes, but what is he doing? What Putin is referring to here is he's saying that if you guys continue to send bigger and bigger missiles that can reach into Russia proper, you keep sending them to the Ukraine, then I'm going to strike at these operation centers, these headquarters centers, one being London, right? That's what he's saying here. And the United States, I'm going to strike. Now, how is he going to strike? Is he talking about nukes right away? Well, nukes are coming later. All right. First, it's going to be what? Asymmetric, maybe cyber. All right. And yesterday, what went up? There was let's get that real quick. Yesterday, there was a energy center that was bombed here. I think it was my boy Skeletor came out with that. I'm kind of just, bear with me, I'm kind of just doing this live. What is it? Full spectrum. see videos. He said something about, let's see, right here, USA gas pipeline explosion. Where's that coming from? Let's quickly listen to this because
big crash in
he's gonna
2000.
he's gonna say something, and we'll listen to what he says. He's gonna say, "Could this be, you know, asymmetric warfare? Cells, sleeper cells in Babylon, which is the U.S., waiting to strike certain targets." Listen to what he says.
Going to a hair growth clinic.
Of course, the devil is going to try to throw you off. Bear with me. Here we go.
Investigators say that we may be witnessing another attack on the infrastructural sabotage in the U.S. state of Louisiana, as reports show that the U.S. National Guard is dealing with a gas line explosion at Lake Leary in Louisiana. We're seeing these types of things happen with increasing frequency, not just in America, but across the world. It seems like this might be a retaliatory attack from Russia or from Russian allies against American and European infrastructure.
Boom. Okay. This was yesterday. Okay. So, are we bombing our own gas situations here? Okay. And not too long ago, there was a power station that went down, and they said that it was also uh, um, due to Russian cyber attack. Now, quickly, I want to go into, and I got a precept coming up. All right, so I saw this yesterday. I actually posted it, but this is Russian news, and they're kind of going back and forth, which is, forbidden in Russia. They're arguing with each other, on a Russian news channel, and a lot of the comments are saying how somebody is going to accidentally fall out of a window for the argument that they're having on Russian television, saying that somehow Putin is losing the war and he's failing. But let me look at a couple of these. Let's see. It's going to talk about falling out windows. Let's see. Maybe there's a lot more now. Special military. All right, bear with me. Right here. That dude who said Putin was lying needs to stay away from hospital windows. Right here. The guy who appeared to be telling it as it is may suddenly come down with a case of falling out of a window. Okay, so it's dangerous for them to be talking the way that they're talking, is the point that I'm making. Okay. Let's see. Mm-mm. Get one more real quick. Okay, and that really means nothing, so. Whoa. Just wanted to get one more. Anyway, right here. I have a feeling there are going to be a few people falling out of windows accidentally. Okay, so these guys are all arguing. There's like about 6 people on a panel and they're arguing, but this is the point I want to make. Okay, not this guy. This is like a congressman or whatever, and he's being admonished by somebody that said, "Hey, you better watch your language and what you're saying. You might be falling out of a window." But watch what he says about who they're actually fighting against, because what they're saying here is that somehow Russia suffered this great defeat in the Ukraine. But who did they suffer the defeat to? Was it the Ukrainians or who's over there fighting?
Потому что даже в проброс говорить про колониальные войны
To talk about
недопустимо в
colonial
нашем случае.
wars
Это первое.
is
Второе.
unacceptable.
Вы политик с таким
such
большим стажем,
extended
неужели
tenure,
не можете подняться на
can't
одну
you
голову
look?
и
He says, can't you take a look at the entire war theater? Now watch what he says next.
весь театр военных действий, а он включает в себя...
Which includes Western Europe, the EU, and Babylon the Great. You see that? Okay? He's saying, we're not fighting against the Ukrainians. What do you mean we're being defeated by Ukraine? We're not being defeated by the Ukraine. We're fighting against Babylon the Great. That's my point. Okay? Let me get a quick precept to prove that. All right? And I did this yesterday, but I'm going into the blackouts. All right? Going back to, where is it? Was it this? I went away from it, didn't I? I was at dedication. Can I go back there? Right here. Get ready for blackouts. Now, what did Vlad and Russia say about London? We're striking London first. Okay, well, maybe they know or have intelligence that the cyber attacks are coming, is the point. All right, because you're seeing all this, well, get ready for the blackouts, get ready for the blackout. Well, the blackout, let's see who's blacking people out, so to speak. This is, okay. All right, come on, devil. Here's what the scripture says that the Most High is doing. Here's what we're looking at. Right, and here's where the blackouts are coming from. And basically that's what, I'm being long-winded, but that's what I wanted to touch on. Isaiah 13:17, behold, I, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold they shall not delight in. Here's the Most High, here's the Russians, and here's Babylon the Great. The Most High, in the NLT, the Russians, Babylon. Okay? So the Russians are fighting the United States. Let's go to here. Okay? This was September 11th. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News. Breaking air raid sirens going on. So after the counteroffensive in Eastern Europe between Ukraine and the Russians went back and bombed. Let me see, let me back this up just a hair. Okay? Russia launches massive missile barrage hitting power plants for the first time. Now, usually when you start a war, when you go into war, the first thing you do is you neutralize their power, their lights, their infrastructure, like what happened with shock and awe in Iraq. They bombed the shit out of Iraq so badly that the Iraqis didn't even want to fight. Okay, so it was just September 11th, ring a bell, that they hit the power plants. Okay, putting them in the dark. All right, now we'll let it go forward, and then we'll see who they're actually fighting.
I'm not using conscripts at all, but that's what they're saying publicly anyway. Now, to go along with all of this,
Listen,
we've got 2 American cruise missiles that were intercepted 5 kilometers from the Russian border.
2 American cruise missiles. What are American cruise missiles doing right there in the middle of the Ukrainian and Russian war? And if you think that any old Ukrainian can, what does it mean, cruise missile? That means you fly the missile to its destination, okay? Meaning whoever is flying the missile must be trained. And those cruise missiles cost millions of dollars a piece. So they're not going to just throw some untrained Ukrainian in the cockpit to drive that missile to where it's going. All right? You're going to have somebody who's well trained for years and years to hit that target. Okay? And he wasn't trained in 6 months and then thrown out on the battlefield with $1 million weapon. All right? When you understand how warfare works from the inside. All right? So, somebody, it says 2 American cruise missiles were intercepted 5 kilometers from the Russian border, meaning Russia shot them down. They didn't capture the missiles. They were shot out of the air with countermeasures. All right? What does this mean? It means Russia is fighting against the United States in the Ukraine.
We've got 2 American cruise missiles that were intercepted 5 kilometers from the Russian border. So this is a very serious escalation, and this may be another reason why Russia is looking at a formal declaration of war against Ukraine. As American cruise missiles were intercepted 5 kilometers from the Russian border, 2 U.S.-made cruise missiles were successfully intercepted by Russian air defense systems. However, the incident was of a very serious nature, since this is actually the first case of the use of American missile weapons near the Russian border.
You understand? They were fighting against a few Ukrainian soldiers and some mercenaries. That now it's escalating. Okay, this is an escalation. This was after the counteroffensive, where the Ukraine, right, quote unquote, Ukraine gained some ground. Russia said, "Oh, like that? Okay, now we're going to get serious." And then up pops what? Who they're really fighting against. Okay, now I did all of that to show who's actually fighting. Now, what is the retaliation? Let me hear if there's anything left of it.
Relevant information was provided by the Defense Department, and I've got their briefing.
Okay, so Russia knows who they're fighting against. And now they've known for a while that they were going to do this counteroffensive. All right? Ukraine, oh, well, we're winning the war now. We're winning. No, you're not winning the war now. The war is escalating. Okay? And we're about to get to the nitty gritty. And the nitty gritty is that Russia is fighting against America. Okay? It's going to start how? It's going to start with, let's get this. Bear with me. I'm sure I'm all over the place. It's going to start with blackouts. What's the first thing you do when you damage the infrastructure? All right. Now this might, what they're doing is they're seeing how fragile the American infrastructure is. What? The grid. Okay? The grid. They're going to start by attacking the grid. And they already have. Now, to show that this has been going on, this situation here, okay, Slovakia. All right, this says December 21st, 2016. Russian cyber attack targets Ukrainian power grid. U.S. next. So this is Russia threatening, knowing that it was coming to this years ago. All right? Because United States went into the Ukraine in 2013, 2014, staged a coup and installed their puppet dictator. This is shortly after that. Russia already knows where this is going, so they kind of clowned the Ukraine and said, hey, we'll shut your lights down whenever we want to. Okay? Because we got it like that. All right? This is the CBS Evening News, December 21st, 2016, or basically 2017. So let's cue this up and let's listen to what they say. This is back then, okay?
Russian hacking to influence the American election has dominated the news, but we've also noticed a hacking attack that could be a future menace to America.
Boom. Now, here's the point of the whole lesson. And I know I've been long-winded, but it is what it is. It's this: get ready for blackouts from London to LA. Who's doing it? Okay, as the global energy crisis overwhelms grids and sends energy prices skyrocketing. You know, you're taking advantage of a good tragedy. What is it? Always take advantage of an emergency. I forget the exact word, and I'm paraphrasing. But they know that Russia is about to hit the grid. All right? Let's go back here. So lock in. All right. Start that again. Now listen close. This is in 2016. Listen to the wording. It's saying that, oh, they attacked Ukraine. We know they're coming here. So what they don't want, what Babylon the Great, America doesn't want, is for you to know that Russia is getting ready to tear this place up. So they're deflecting, they're redirecting your attention and saying, oh, it's not that, it's the heat. Oh, it's too much. Everybody's using their AC or something like that. All right, they don't want you to know the real threat.
But we've also noticed a hacking attack that could be a future menace to America. Last weekend, parts of the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, went dark. Holly Williams reports that Russia appears to have figured out how to crash a power grid with a click.
Nearly 250,000 people lost power in this small Ukrainian city when it was targeted by a suspected Russian attack last December.
Okay, and all they were doing, they were clowning. Hey, we put you in the dark whenever we want to. You understand? By hook or by, this is cyber, all right? They could have did, when the war, the so-called war started in February, they could have shut the power off like this, because that's what this was. This was a little warning. Hey, we got you. They could have flew sorties and pounded the shit out of them and shut them down like that indefinitely, which is what they just did over the weekend. Okay?
Vasyl Pemchuk is the Electric Control Center manager and told us when hackers took over their computers, all his workers could do was film it with their cell phones. It was illogical and chaotic, he told us. It seemed like something in a Hollywood movie. The hackers sent emails with infected attachments to power company employees, stealing their login credentials and then taking control of the grid systems to cut the circuit breakers at nearly 60 substations. The suspected motive for the attack is the war in eastern Ukraine, where Russian-backed separatists are fighting against Ukrainian government forces. But hackers could launch a similar attack in the US.
We can't just look at the Ukraine attack and go, oh, we're safe against that attack. Even if we just lose a portion, right? If we have New York City or Washington, D.C. go down for...
Or L.A. or rolling blackouts or whatever you want to call it, we're not going to let you know that it was Vlad and the Ruskies. Oh, we're overwhelmed at the moment because of the heat. You know what? It's been so much hotter going back over the years than it has been this year. They've been playing it up and acting as though, oh, this is record heat. It's not record heat. One 18 for 2 weeks in a row, right? Where I live, all right? I remember them weeks, all right? We got to 116, maybe 115 for a day, and then it went back down under 110. So, no, it's not record heat. What you're doing is you're covering for when the blackout does come, right? You have a ready-made excuse. But here it comes. After that counteroffensive, you gave Vlad a black eye. And what did he do? He went and shut down Ukraine. And now you've known for a while that you were going to do that counteroffensive. Now you're putting it out. We might have some blackouts come because we ain't had none yet. We ain't going to have none until Vlad sends the cyber attack.
Day, 2 days, a week. How does life look like at that point?
I broke that.
We
up.
just lose a portion, right? If we have New York City or Washington, D.C. go down for a day, 2 days, a week, how does life look like at that point?
Rob Lee is a former cyber warfare operations officer in the US military and investigated the Ukraine attack. He told us some US electric utilities have weaker security than Ukraine, and the malicious software the hackers used has already been detected in the US.
It's very concerning that these same actors, using similar capabilities and tradecraft, are preparing and are getting access to these business networks and getting access to portions of the power grid.
In Ukraine, they restarted the power in just hours, but an attack in the US could leave people without electricity for days or even weeks, according to experts, because, ironically, Scott, America's advanced automated grid would be much harder to fix.
Holly Williams,
And the point of the video is this could happen at any time. When it happens, here's where it's coming from. Okay, what do you mean London to LA? Right? You got to be able to read between those lines. See, when you read this spiritually, get ready for what? Who is this for? Okay, get ready. Get ready for blackouts from London to that's Vlad to LA, right? As the global energy crisis, the global energy crisis is being fomented by Vlad. No Nord Stream 2. You're going to freeze Europe. Oh, I can reach over when I want to and shut your power down. See, here's what they're not saying. Okay? Oh, and then we can never let a good crisis go to waste. That's what it is. Right here. And since energy prices, this says, never let a good crisis go to waste. What crisis? Well, when Vlad shuts down the grid, right, and you get no natural gas, that's the global energy crisis. Vlad is over there whooping ass. All right? So, I mean, and this is called asymmetric warfare, all right? Because you need logistics in order to conduct a war, right? You need uniforms, you need munitions, you need soldiers, you need food, you need energy, gas, oil, okay? Tanks. You need all of those things. And if somebody's controlling them, right? Cyber warfare wasn't around during World War II, but it's here in World War III, and we'll just close with that, right? I went a little long, Slovakia. So get ready for the blackout. The blackout is coming from, Vlad is going to conduct it, all right? Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. It's going to be crazy out here. All right, this is World War II. This is World War III. They haven't declared it yet, but it's coming soon to a theater near you. All right, so with that, we hope that the elect were edified. Get your flashlights ready. You brothers and few sisters, shalom.